Good afternoon. It's Paul Bursey and welcome to healthylife.tv. My co-presenter is here.
Hey everybody, Warren Connolly here and welcome.
Great. So welcome to everyone who's on Facebook Live, the people that come on later on the replay, new YouTube, and also, what was the other thing I'll do? Oh yeah, on our podcast. So yeah, welcome to everyone. What we'd like is for you to take part in some way, so that if it's later, you can leave us a question or a comment, and if it's now, you can obviously leave us a question and comment, and we'll try and answer it now today. So with that, what we're talking about today is sunscreen and cancer prevention. So we'll obviously try and make it as human as possible. Means that we'll tell you all about our mistakes.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there. So just to start off, I'm just going to say this. You know, the sun sustains life, as we know. And it feels great on occasions. Okay? So can your skin be your worst enemy? Or can the sun be your worst enemy? What do you reckon, Warren?
Yeah. Yes.
Is that it?
I've experienced the sun as my enemy many times, both directly, personally, and indirectly as well. So yes. Oh yeah. You can be very badly burnt. I've been blistered by the sun.
I think I've been a few times. So, but not necessarily badly. But you know that when you can't put a shirt on.
I've had my whole lower back was raw as a result of being blistered by the sun.
To my knowledge, from what I've seen, which is probably very limited, it seems that Brits seem to be the worst. They're the whitest, and they sort of get red very quickly. And the
lobster look.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I'm a member of the Red Lobster Club. Okay, it's not very exclusive. There's a lot of people in it. All I would say is asking other people there, are you members of the Red Lobster Club? You know, have you laid too long in the sun? You know.
you mean is the Red Lobster Club something like the Mile High Club?
No, that's very exclusive. That's very exclusive.
Okay.
There's only a few of us.
A few of us, he says. A few of us.
But the Red Lobster Club is very big. It's like the amount of people that like soccer or football.
Yeah, I grew up in a resort town on the east coast of South Africa, and we used to get holiday makers from all over the world coming there, and you could tell the Austrians and Germans apart from the Brits and the Scandinavians. You could tell the Scandinavians, you could tell who the Austrians and Germans were, you could tell who the Brits were, because the Brits were the lobsters. they were the lobsters. Then you had the Germans and the Austrians. You could tell them apart because they would typically wear high socks or sandals on. So when they weren't, you would see the suntan at the high end of their calves.
Here's a question for you then. How could you tell the Russians?
Well, my first encounter with the Russians was in Dubai, and the only way I could tell who the Russians were was because they were slaughtered.
I wasn't necessarily talking about alcohol, but no.
That's the only way I could tell.
Well, when I went to Bulgaria in 1977, when it was still communist, all the Russians, number one, they were kept secluded, but number two, they stood up while they sunbathed and just moved around.
Oh, the Jordanians like to do that as well.
Yeah. So I haven't been around any Germans for some time, but I still don't know if they still do that. I don't know. Sorry, Russians. Yeah. So
stood up while they were suntanning and walked around. Okay. I must ask Andrea that question, if she knows, if she can remember any Russians that walk around like trees while they're suntanning. But yeah, okay.
The only thing I can say, my meeting with the Russians, we played them at football. It was the rest of the world versus the Russians, because there were so many of them there in Bulgaria. in
So
sunny.
why were they secluded? Why were they, just as a side note?
Yeah, I think that the theory was that they wanted to keep them away from seeing Western trappings.
Ah, got you.
And
I got you. Okay.
so wherever you went, they were always sectioned off. I mean, now it was, for many, many, many years now, it's been just a free for all, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. But then, yeah, okay.
Great. Anyway, back to this. While sunburn can increase your risk of skin cancer, it's not necessarily the beach time that can cause the trouble. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because it's sometimes, even when it's cloudy, you can get too much exposure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So just to get to even it up, obviously we all need to be in sunlight every day to get our vitamin D. But some people take it to extremes, like the British Red Lobster Club. But basically, we all need vitamin D. But we've got to watch what we're doing. We've got to be aware of what we're doing. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Yes, of course.
So,
And yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it's also, sometimes people go excessive and they put too much cream on their bodies, and then they don't get any sun on day one, and then they go to the sun the next day with no cream or very little cream, and then they get extremely burnt on the second day. But at least they got one day without being sunburnt, so they don't feel that pain for at least one day. But also you've got to be aware of altitude. So you're not always in the sun by the coast. Sometimes you're in the sun at higher altitudes as well.
yeah.
And that sun is a very different sun to the coastal sun. And this coastal sun, you've got humidity typically. There is moisture in the air. So the effect of the sun on your skin is different than if you're up between, and the wind too, of course, yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, windburn is another thing. You get windburn on your face. Oh, that stings.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm fairly good with putting sunscreen. I mean, I personally, I always use SPF 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. I know other people that will use a lot less than that, but I've just made an agreement with myself that I will always use 30. But I still get a tan. It's but so it's each time you go out, you've got to think about it, because your skin's exposed. When you're out walking the dog, when you're out shopping, if it's outside the market, if you're walking in the park, anything like that, playing football. It's worse if you stand still in one position.
Yeah, I think it is a bit worse if you aren't, like if you're lying down in one position or standing.
A bit like the magnifying glass, isn't it?
Yeah, you kind of draw too much heat to you. And the other thing is that something which I learned, growing up in South Africa, is that it's always best to put sunscreen on before you even go outside. So, like if you're going to the beach or the lake, don't wait till you get to the beach to put sunscreen on. It's too late by then. Yeah. So before you go, you put sunscreen in, and then it allows it to seep into the skin.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Absolutely spot on. Not something I always do, though.
Well, because most people forget.
No, that's not exactly true. I'll be undercover. I'll be undercover when I'm doing it, but I don't do it. I don't do it when I'm in the hotel room or something like that. So, should do. Give myself longer to soak it in, but
why not?
And
every time you come out of the water, you should put it back on again, even if it's waterproof. You should put.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll cover that in a little while. But also, I mean, it's not just skin cancer we got to worry about, because there's other things that can happen to your skin as well. I mean, you can have this leathery look on your skin. You can have dark spots. You can have increase the amount of wrinkles that you have. And so there's.
That's why I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked by my complexion, considering I grew up in the sun all my life. And I got fair skin. I'm quite surprised by my complexion. I was on the beach all my life, so.
I just remember my early life, and I think my parents cheated a little bit because they always made sure we were covered up all the time. we won't have to spend too much money on suntan lotion, and and you got to wear a hat. You got to wear a hat, especially now. Look,
Yeah, if you're baldy, yeah, then it's imperative, right?
But that's the first, to be fair though, that's the first bit that gets done. So
yeah, you don't want your brain, you don't want to get dehydrated and stuff, which is something that's happened to me as well. Being, you got too much sun exposure, and then you get
you get dehydrated as well. It's terrible.
Dehydration, and then from dehydration you get what's that?
Die?
Yeah, it's a term that they use, like when you've dehydrated and you start to get
you hallucinate.
Like hallucinating, and then you get
fever,
fever and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
and then
anyway, there's no single method of sun defense that can protect you perfectly.
Okay.
So that has got to make you think, all right? Because we've all got to be aware of what's around us, you know, and the sun is probably the biggest thing.
What it is?
Well, no, I mean, sorry.
I know. Sorry, I had to say
it.
I know. Yeah, that is.
Okay. So, so it's very, very important that you do cover up before you go out, and with obviously sunscreen, and use the appropriate one. You know.
So what is the appropriate one? Because there's a lot of rubbish out there.
Well, yeah, I'm going to come to that as well. But look, most ladies, I know some men as well, and I'm sure you're one of them, will want beautiful, healthy skin.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't care.
When you said, I'm sure you're one of the men.
So it doesn't really matter too much. But I'm only joking. So let's see if we can steer you in the right direction with your lifestyle. And it's all about daily habits. Again, we get back to that daily habits all the time, no matter what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So, so what would some of them habits be, do you think?
Just keeping your skin moisturized, and as you say, even an insignificant walk with the dog or to the shops, that you get being exposed to sunlight, and it could be excessive. So just applying some minimal amount of sunscreen onto your sensitive areas, particularly. If you have a dome, like if you're bald or shaven, then definitely the top of your ears, your nose, your lips. These are the very sensitive areas, and they should be covered up more noticeably, or not necessarily noticeably, but you pay more attention to covering those up. Yeah.
Do you know what made me notice about sunscreen? And that it's strange. Well, it's not strange. It's just that what I noticed was when I was looking at the Ashes, which is a cricket between Australia and England, and all the Australians were wearing sunblock. So I asked the question, why are they wearing sunblock? I mean, I know it's a silly question, but I knew why. But what I'm saying is it became noticeable, and I thought, well, I better pay more attention. So it's a weird way of coming across it.
So why do they wear sunblock there?
To block out sun. Protection. Because they're out there for hours.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with the eyes.
Okay.
So it's the
is it a reflection?
I think it's a reflection factor thing, and this is sometimes why they use. The guys used to use that luminous type of sunscreen. The one that used to get them they just had that funky smell on it, and I think they use that because it's for reflection purposes. Your eyes to safeguard your eyes. I think, I'm not sure, I'm
sure we can find out, but
ask a cricketer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, it's all about keeping the ultraviolet UV rays off of us, and but that as you well know, is that anything you do in life has to be consistent, and this is definitely one of those things that you should do consistently over time. I say when you're wearing clothing, it's reasonably permanent. But when you're wearing, obviously, a sunscreen, they need replacing, don't they, after a certain length of time, or if you go in the water and things like that. And so we know that we've got to reapply it at some stage.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fairly frequent if you're outside and
Yeah.
moving around a lot, in and out of water. Definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
I must say that that's not been one of my greatest assets, is to reapply. So
Okay.
something that I'm going to learn from this to reapply more. So,
Good.
but, there also
I don't even apply.
no, I do. I always put it on there, but things like what else can we use? I mean, there are many fabrics now that are high tech protection that are breathable, but they give you some protection from the sun. You
I
know,
mean,
and
you have the full body wet swimsuits.
yeah,
That's, especially like in the Middle East, for example, a lot of the ladies wear them. Not just the Muslim ladies that need to cover up, but
I actually think they look quite good as well.
you do. Okay.
Fashion wise, they look good.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But so other places that we can cover up: necks, long
We should do
sleeves,
the back of the neck. Yeah.
wear trousers, tracksuit bottoms, whatever.
The back of your legs as well. Very often, the back of your legs get more burnt than the front of your legs if
Yeah,
your legs are exposed. Yeah.
I've got to say though, when I was heavily into running and training, I used to train at the hottest time of the day,
Hmm.
and obviously you had to make sure you had plenty of stuff on you there. But the reason I did that, people think you're mad, by the way, when you do that.
Oh yes.
But I was British, I am British, so maybe that's why. But I mean, it was never as hot as that at home. Whether you were racing, whatever you were doing, and I just found that by training in the hot sun, it made it so much easier when you were running at home.
Hmm.
It was so easy; it just felt good, And but that's just another thing. What about a hat? Wearing a hat? Have you have
Well, I
you
mean,
have you worn one at all?
yeah. I mean, I have, but I'm not a peak or cap person. Yeah, and I don't like to wear like the full
Wide brim
brim.
hats.
Yeah, the wide brim hats either. I'm just not a hat person. For me, wearing a hat very often feels uncomfortable for me. So I just make sure, like, if I'm going to be out in the sun, I cover my face and my head and my shoulders and my neck up. If I'm going to be out in the sun a lot, for a while. For example, like now with us, we like to go hiking in the mountains and the forest and stuff like that here.
Yeah,
So now that the sun is coming out in the beginning of the summer season, or the spring at least, I'm going to be putting some cream on because my skin needs to be reconditioned back into that, the sunlight and the sun exposure.
yeah.
That was not choreographed, by the way. Paul and I are both doing that with our nose at the same time. But yeah, I mean, this is something that I think you can use. Sunscreen should be applied in stages, in terms of, like, for some people, perhaps an SPF of 50 or 60 in the beginning, and then slowly reducing the protection as your skin becomes more and more comfortable with the sun or conditioned to the sun. For me, I grew up. I was telling Paul earlier before we went on the podcast. I grew up on the coastline, as I mentioned earlier. So for me, my skin, I go to the sun first time and I go a bit red, and then once I'm in the sun 2-3 times within a short period of time, I'm going like brown, and I start to go a brown color. And it's and when I was in Egypt, in the Red Sea in Egypt, with a group of Brits, some Welsh and English and a Scot, and then some Kiwi, two Kiwis and Australians. But for me, when we were in Egypt, I never put sunscreen on, and I used to have photos with I was brown. There was, especially when we were by the Red Sea, because I was in and out of the sea all the time, and the sea is a great thing to put. It's a great way to get a nice brown tan, by the way. But
Oh
that's
yeah.
if you, being in
Oh
the sea.
yeah. That's it. A little bit of wind, a little bit of sun.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the water. Yeah, definitely. So, have you? Okay, let's talk about sunglasses. Now, all sunglasses are not equal, are they?
No, I mean, it's you got polarized sunglasses, which are typically your best.
Yeah, the
Um,
UV blocking ones.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
And then you've also got the ones with for driving as well, so that protects from the glare on the road. You get for example, like I used to have a pair of driving glasses in Dubai because of the intense sunlight and heat.
That shimmer comes off the road.
That it actually kills your eyes. It really kills your eyes. It does a
Yeah.
lot of damage to your eyes. So I used to wear sunglasses, an Italian brand specifically for driving, and it was very helpful because my eyes wouldn't get so tired, and I was driving around quite a lot in Dubai. So it was very useful.
I was thinking, apart from protecting your eyes, of course, and I was just thinking that if you didn't put your suntan lotion on first, now you've got to be careful with the eyes anyway. You just put sunglasses on, you can end up with a red mark all around there. It's like
that's happened many times.
Yeah, I know. So you got to put the stuff on first. So,
but also, just to parents out there, please don't just go to the store and buy your kids some cheap sunglasses. They're gonna do more damage to your child's eyes than if you didn't have anything on and they just had like a peak on, for example. Because very often the quality of the material in those sunglasses for kids ones especially is not good, and you get a lot of reflective energy or reflective rays through the glasses. So make sure, even for kids, like with Laura, when we were in Dubai, we got her polarized ones. It's important.
I was just thinking, especially in England, you go along the seafront and you have these places that sell off buckets and spades and little windmills and flags and things like that.
Yeah.
These racks of sunglasses that are about £1. They're not the ones we're talking about. So get some decent ones. Yeah, you're right.
I look at sunglasses like shoes. Pay that bit of extra to make sure that you're safeguarding. I mean, if you want to wear you want to wear comfortable, good quality shoes to safeguard your feet in the long run. And it's the same with sunglasses, I believe.
People wear nice shoes, so they look good.
Well, that too. I mean, but I've got
sunglasses.
What's that?
Well, they wear sunglasses to look good, and the ones that make you look good are normally the ones that are polarized.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, normally. Unless you're buying the £1.50 ones.
They don't really look good, do they?
No. So choose wisely. That's all we're saying. So let's talk about, do you know what UPF stands for?
No, I should, most likely, because I used to be a lifeguard, but I don't.
It's ultraviolet protection factor.
Protection factor. Okay.
Yeah. So, and the reason I say that is because you can there'll be labels on things like clothes and other things like that will tell you about the sun's rays and how they're will penetrate what you're wearing. Okay. So UPF 50 allows 1/50th of the UV radiation to reach your skin. So there's two different, lots of numbers here. So this is the UV protection factor.
And SPF.
Yeah. UPF. So now there is a pitfall with clothes, with clothing, and using that to cover up. Is there's always little bits of skin that are left exposed. So don't forget you need sunscreen on those as well. Whether it be your hands, whether it will be your ears. There's going to be lots of things sticking out. It could be, that little bulge that comes out from underneath your t-shirt and between that and your swimming trunks or whatever.
Yeah. That's like the small of your back kind of area.
I remember I used to have that, and I remember once getting sunburn on that.
Okay.
But obviously the sunburn you're going to get, if at all, it's going to be worse between roundabout. I'm talking about the UK here. I don't know what it is around the world, but 10 a.m., 4 p.m. That's when you're going to really fall foul of things. I don't know what it's like elsewhere.
In most countries, it's mostly around about those times.
Okay.
It's in other certain countries, it's closer to you would say 12 to 2, for example.
Yeah.
In South Africa, between 11 to 2, you need to be, if it's a hot sunny day, you need to be putting something on. Yeah, so 10 to 2 is normal. I think that's just be safe, just be safeguarding yourself, protecting yourself, because also you go out, you may not think you're going to go out. You're going to go out for a short while and you think, I won't put sunscreen on, I'm not going to be out in the sun very much. But you never know. Next minute you meet some people and they say, hey, come join us at this restaurant, and you're sitting outside at a restaurant, it's like baking down, and you're wondering what your skin's going to look like by the evening.
Right. So, I always made sure I was under the cover anyway. I wouldn't sit anywhere that wasn't under cover. I'll do my sunbathing later on, or beforehand. So, so even walking on the sunny side of the street can cause you problems.
Sunny side of the street.
Yeah, because
of course, yeah.
Yeah, because we all do it. I mean, because we walk down this road, and maybe, especially in the UK, where the roads are a little bit narrow, where it's cold on one side and hot on the other.
Yeah, because of depending on the buildings and the sun.
Most people will go where the sun is, so just be aware of that. I mean, it's because
you also walking next to asphalt as well is not conducive.
Oh, that's very hot.
Yeah, so it's also reflective, so it's reflecting again, and then the temperature on the ground on the road is typically hotter than it is in the air. So if you, for example, like if you ever watch Formula One or anything like that, if you've ever been to a racetrack before, where there's loads of asphalt, you will feel that temperature if you're walking on that track. You can feel the temperature is about 10 degrees difference, feels like. So bear that in mind.
Absolutely. Shade. Now, shade isn't the perfect shield to UV rays. You've got to be careful. Things like leaves and branches, the sun still gets through them. Even through the little gaps, even through the leaves, or the branches themselves, and they'll hit your skin from the side or reflect off of water, glass, sand, or concrete. So you just got to be careful where you are and what you're doing. It's not just all about laying in the sun. And the other thing you got to do is know your sunscreen. What sunscreen you're using, what's best for you. And I'll come to that in a little while about maybe what you should be aiming for, but the best one is the one you like applying all the time, within reason. Okay, so because if you don't like it, you won't use it. Whether it's a cream, whether it's a spray, I don't know what ones you would prefer, Warren. Combination, maybe.
Yeah, I mean the spray. I find the spray okay. The spray is okay for me.
Yeah.
I still remember the best one I ever used was from South Africa, and I've never been able to find it since. It had these little granules in the cream, so we used to use it for lifeguard duty, and it really protected your body. Whether it was doing damage to me chemically wise or not, I don't know. This is the thing, the chemicals inside it. So I don't know if it was. But I always remember my one aunt when I was a kid, in the 80s, and loads of people were out suntanning in the 80s. It was like the thing. And my aunt used to lie by the pool, and she's pint sized, like 2 bricks and a penny high kind of thing. So there's not a lot to cover, a lot of surface area to cover. And she used to lie on her sunbed next to her pool with baby oil on, and those those reflective screens that you would put on your chest, and then it would reflect the sun into your face, so you didn't have to lie facing the sun. I remember I still had. It was actually at her house where I got burnt so badly that I was blistered on my back, where I couldn't move for like a week because my whole lower back was completely raw. I was painting her pillars, the pillars around her pool, and I was painting them with whitewash. So I was sanding them off, all the old whitewash first, and then painting it again. And then I never put any sunscreen on. And man, I had blisters like that size on my back.
You've got to be careful what you're doing. I think I was always a little bit fortunate in as much that I would do a certain amount of time on my front, certain amount of time on my back, and I wasn't on there long. I then go for a swim, and then I might go back on the sunbed, or not sunbed, around the pool, and then I'd be undercover.
Sun lounger.
You know what I mean. So, so I always keep on the move, and then I'd go and play a game or something.
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm not a suntanner.
I'm not a suntanner. Yeah. I do like to have a nice colour. Yeah, definitely.
I do like that. Of course, I like but I would rather be doing something outside. I'd rather be playing a sport or being active, doing something, than lying down suntanning. I'm not a
water volleyball is my favourite one.
Water volleyball.
Well, because you can throw yourself all over the place, and it doesn't matter because you go underwater. So, okay, let's talk about SPF. What's SPF stand for?
Okay, that's a protection factor again, obviously, but I can't remember what the S is.
Sun
protection factor. Okay, just straightforward sun. Okay, thanks.
I know. We're dredging this up. If people are listening to this, we're dredging it up. All right. So from our memory, from the little bit of research we've done, and whatever, because you don't think about this stuff all the time.
No, we don't. I mean, as I said, I'm an ex-lifeguard, and I can't even remember what UPF and SPF stands for.
Yeah, so
it's so basic as well. Ultraviolet and sun. I mean, it's hello.
We will be doing a session to remind people once a year. So anyway, so it stands for sun protection factor. The number, that goes after it, tells you how long the sun's UVB rays would take to redden the skin when using a particular sunscreen compared with the amount of time without sunscreen. So that's what it does. So if you use an SP15, for example, exactly as directed, which they say applied generously and evenly, and reapplied after 2 hours or after sweating or swimming. That's what they say. It would take 15 times longer, SPF 15, to burn than if you weren't wearing a sunscreen. And that's what it means.
That sounds good. That's good enough.
Now, you said about some of the stuff you should be looking for when you're looking at sunscreen as well. So broad spectrum is the word you should be looking for. And they will be, and it's not BS, all right, but a broad spectrum. And it really is talking about the ingredients that's in the product, which effectively protect the skin, right, from UVA and UVB. As we know, there are two types, UVA, UVB. Do you know what UVB does? Because I had to look it up. I'll be honest, I didn't know. I really didn't know.
Neither do I.
UVB is about the redness of the skin.
Okay.
Right? Okay. It's responsible for producing sunburn. That's all it is.
I'm learning just as much as everybody else is learning right now.
Well, it's not. I think we'd all probably put our hands up and say, look, we don't know enough about it. All right. So I'm not coming from a place of great knowledge here.
Yeah.
Okay. So UVA is about the penetrating the skin more deeply.
Okay.
It will deal with things like wrinkles, aging, and things like that. So it plays a really pivotal role in that. So that's it, really. That's the difference. There is only one other difference, which I'll come to. But you mentioned earlier about water resistance. Water. There's no such thing as waterproofing.
No.
Okay. We can only have things are water resistant. It's as simple as that. So, and whatever you're wearing, it's either going to be water resistant for 40 minutes or 80 minutes. Approximately, and then if you go in water, you've got to reapply it anyway.
True.
So it loses unless it's so thick that you just can't rub it off with even water. but generally speaking, you have to reapply it. So, do you know anyone with sensitive skin?
Yeah, me.
You're sensitive skin? No, it doesn't sound like you are. It sounds
Look. I mean, my skin is quite sensitive in that, for example, if I do go in the sun after, like now, through the whole of winter and not being in the sun, if I go into the sun now, I will go red and I can get burnt quite quickly. But then my skin does adapt very quickly because of the fact that I did. And also my skin goes dry in winter. It goes very dry in winter time. So it is a sensitive skin.
Okay.
And if you do have a sensitive skin in any way, then you should take more protection with it.
Mm-hmm. What you should be looking for then when you're looking for a sunscreen is something that may contain zinc oxide or titanium oxide.
Oh, really?
Now, they may not say that. They may also say that the sunscreen may be referred to as a mineral one or a physical or something with a physical formula. Okay.
Okay.
Or it probably would say this is for people with sensitive skin. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've got these two oxides listed, so that you know that they're not trying to
It
have
should
you.
be, especially in Hungarian. I wouldn't know how to read titanium oxide.
Yeah.
I've already got titanium in me, but yeah, I don't think that's going to protect me from the sun.
No. But most people don't apply sunscreen properly or as directed.
True.
Okay. And the other thing is most people don't reapply. So there are things to take into account. And what about children? What do you know about children and sunscreen and sun and damage and?
Well, you get children's sunscreen, don't you? So it's just more, it's safer for their skin and that. And again, it's the same. It's applicable to children with sunscreen as much as it is applicable to children with technology and screens. It should be limited in terms of how much sun exposure they get.
Yes.
And
in other words, if we're out in the water half an hour, maybe they should only be in 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, something's, I mean, because their skin is still developing, younger kids especially, the skin is still very, very easily affected by external environments. So you want to make sure that your kids are well protected.
Yeah.
I mean, who would want their children to get burnt and in pain and things like that in any case? So
I'll tell you what you do. I mean, it's bad enough being around a child who's tired.
but a child is
can you imagine
and
a
tired?
child who's got sunburn?
Oh, I know.
Apart from the health aspects, I mean that's
yeah.
But so infants, babies, no. It's best to keep them out of the sun for the first 6 months before you even start thinking about getting them out in the sun. That's the suggestion I'm reading when I'm doing the research.
Yeah,
and cover up, put them under things, and don't let them out in the sun too long if they're over 6 months. So it's about watching. It's being watchful. It's about looking out. It's about being aware. I think with kids,
Yeah, listen. Look at the signs of your children as well. Are your children getting irritable? Are they getting tired? Are they drinking a lot of water, excessively? Look out for these signs as well. It's just they don't have an appetite, for example, and that they should typically be eating, but they're not. These are the signs, and you just want to pay more attention to the children than yourself, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Well, no, you put your seatbelt on first, don't you?
You
got to make sure you're not going to go down while you're doing.
But rather than you lying there and applying cream on yourself and just lying sun tanning and keep reapplying cream on yourself, and you're not bothered, you're just letting the kids run amok in the water and stuff like that and carry on all day doing their thing without making sure that they're putting cream on themselves. It's easy to do that because you become distracted, and you don't necessarily think of that too much.
Yeah. But I've just seen a comment by Steve. Ex-police buddy. Hi, Paul. Just wanted to say that this danger is real and the wait for cancer treatment is very significant. Prevention is best. Well said. We are all guilty. Yeah, we are. Also noticed serious metallic paint fade on my silver car, parked up for a while, showing the sun is getting much stronger now. It's coming to that time, isn't it? So well done, Steve. I mean, look, the bottom line is that one of the areas we don't think about very much is the unexpected exposure for children. And what I mean by that is babysitters. Okay, if you've got a babysitter looking after them, it's the parent's responsibility to make sure they know in advance about sun protection for that child and how
100%.
to look after the child. And you don't think about that. You think, oh yeah, they're babysitters. They've got the kids' best interests at heart. Well, they haven't. They have. But sun's a different thing. You've got to let them know.
And
So,
if you're not thinking about it, doesn't mean that they're necessarily thinking about it.
oh, that's right. That's what they're also kids as well, aren't they?
Just because they have your kid's best interest at heart doesn't mean they're thinking about something like that.
Same for caregivers as well.
True.
Yeah.
True.
If you go to a nursery, check up on how they take care of that. So right. So glass is an important thing as well. Glass. Where do you find glass where you could be affected by the UVB rays?
Your eyes.
Okay. Yeah.
Glasses.
Your eyes.
In the car. In the car.
In the home.
In the home.
So you're lucky with car windshields. Normally this is not 100%, but normally they're treated for most UVAs. UV rays.
So Well, the UVA so it doesn't go in too deep. Yeah.
But not on the side or the back or the sunroofs. So again, you've got to think about even being in the car for some time whether you've got the right things on.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you've applied sunscreens and things like that. And the other thing is you can actually get UV protective windows film for cars.
Yes, we have that.
Yeah.
In our car, yeah.
And also you've got airplanes, trains and buses. Sounds like a film, doesn't it?
It is a film.
Yeah. Planes, trains and automobiles.
Yeah, planes, trains and automobiles.
Handy. So you need to plan ahead before traveling. I think that's pretty standard for most people. And maybe
look, in an airplane you're going to get radiation. You're so high up there. The plane is not protecting you from that.
No, that's not.
So
I did read. Funny enough, I did read that pilots and people like that are more likely to get skin cancer.
Not too surprising.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. But surely wouldn't they put a film on there on the cockpit? So I don't know. It's just something I thought of. So.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's also because you're so high up and the air is so thin that so much gets through the stratosphere.
Yeah.
The ozone layer and the stratosphere and all that. So much more gets through when you're that high up than what's happening down the bottom. So the exposure is much higher up there. Much higher.
Tanning beds. Did we mention tanning beds already?
No, we haven't.
No. Tanning beds. What do you think about tanning beds?
I don't think much about them, to be honest, because I don't agree with them.
I've used one twice. That's it.
I've spoken to an owner of a tanning salon, and he claims that the beds are safe, and you're more likely to get skin cancer lying out in the sun than you are in a sunbed. I don't know enough, to be honest, but my experience from the past, historically speaking, was that sunbeds are dangerous for you and very, very dangerous for you. So how much that technology has changed in terms of applying creams and things like that to the body, but sunbeds, it's not.
I think with sunbeds you've got to be really careful here, because liken it to the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, the pharmaceutical industry are there to make money. They're there to sell you products. Of course, they want you to buy their products.
Naturally.
So just be careful about what they say about them. Now, I know that they could make themselves legally liable, but I've got the thing I wrote up was say no to tanning beds. It raises the risk of all kinds of skin cancer, including melanoma. So, in fact, using a tanning bed before the age of 35 increases risk of melanoma by 75%.
Wow.
Yeah. So that to me is a definite no-no. Unless they've come up with something new. And of course, the problem is it's all about the person going on there wanting to look healthier. But if you take care of the inside, you have a healthy glow.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
But people
yeah.
and they don't take care of the inside.
And if you take care of the inside enough, you don't need as much sun cream because your skin will be naturally protected. If you
That's
have
right.
the right balance of nutrients and minerals in your system, your skin will be more naturally protected, and you won't need as much cream.
Yeah. I think with tanning beds though, it's a definite no for kids. Definite.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Oh, 100%. Oh, yes.
If they want to do it as an adult, then that's up to them. But and the other thing you've got to look out for if you because what happens is the youngsters get together now and they compare tans. So there's a lot of peer pressure on people to use them. I think, especially in this time, we can't go on tanning beds at the moment, but if you just had a semi lockdown and couldn't travel abroad, I would think people would be flocking to tanning beds. So that's my fault with it. So
well, I know at the beginning of COVID and everything, before we had our first lockdown here, there was this is when I met the owner of this tanning salon, and they had people coming in there. So they just cleaned up more frequently, and their hygiene levels were perhaps high enough or good enough. But people were, as I said to you before this podcast, here tanning salons are quite popular.
Yeah.
Quite popular this neck of the woods.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I can see the attraction. It just doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. So you won't see me ever get on a tanning bed. So twice as far to. And the only reason was because I was going out with a beautician who worked in a tanning shop.
Oh, okay.
So that was the reason why.
Okay.
Did it twice and then didn't bother after that. I didn't feel it was doing me any good. Let's put it that way. So, but okay. So the last thing we need to cover is early detection, and that early detection starts with you as a person. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And if you're with a partner, someone else who can look at your back, you can't
engage.
Engage with someone else. So obviously we're going to be using sun protection consistently from now on and never falter, right? So you should be doing that again from an early age. Is it the strongest defense against developing skin cancer, would you say?
No, I wouldn't say it's the strongest defense. Okay. I mean, the strongest defense would probably be don't ever go out into the sun.
Yeah. Apart from that, sorry, I should have said.
Yeah.
Apart from staying out of the sun. So again, no method or person is perfect. Mm-hmm. Right. So, don't believe they are. Should everyone be doing a skin exam?
Regularly.
Well, they reckon the thing I read said every month. I think that sounds about right, actually. Yeah, sounds good. And anything suspicious, go and see a dermatologist or a doctor. Mm-hmm. Or at least some form of medical professional. And get there and get more than one opinion. So early detection is the thing. Don't wait.
And it's the same with anything. Anything that may be wrong with you, if it just have it treated early. Don't wait.
That's right. And I'd have a message for who you are out there. The people who, oh no, I'll sort that out tomorrow. Yeah, do it now.
There is no tomorrow.
Go to them 12 times if you have to, and get embarrassed because it's just a spot. But it doesn't matter. You've got to do it because, and this is what I'm going to finish up on, and then I'll hand it back over to Warren. Is inaction could mean death.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's good enough reason not to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you've got anything now, go and sort it out. And not a telephone appointment either. It has to be in live. And so Warren, have you got any finishing comments before you leave?
Yeah. Look, we touched on briefly about the importance of also having the right balance of nutrition in your system to protect you naturally from the sun's rays. So yeah, if if that sparks an interest in you and you feel intrigued about knowing more about that, then message Paul or I, and we'll be happy to share some insights with you on that. And show you what it means to have a balanced health or balanced diet, balanced nutrition. I don't like to use the word diet. I don't know where that came from, but balanced nutrition in your system. And that's going to help you to be not just protected against the sun, but also other cancers too. So not just skin cancer, but many other cancers by having a balanced nutrition in your system.
Yeah, because that made me think. I was just thinking, well, if your nutritional or your nutrition is tip top,
Yeah.
you'd have a better chance of surviving things than most.
Oh yeah, and even if you do develop a skin cancer, for example, if your nutrition is tip top, then your body's going to be able to heal a lot faster once you start to remedy the situation. So most definitely.
But don't let that stop you getting your vitamin D from the sun.
Go get your dose, folks. Go get
You only
your
need
dose.
15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's all you need. So great. Well, I think we've about rinsed this to death, I think.
We've overstayed our welcome.
Time to move on, go and enjoy our weekend. And everyone, have a great weekend. If you've got any questions, let us know.
Yeah, please do let us know and share this information to those folks with kids that you feel may be at risk of not knowing this kind of information.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
See you later, everyone. We're going.
Ciao, ciao.
See ya.
Have fun.